Tumele to Sereetsi. Welcome to the 20th Avenue podcast. How are you doing, my brother?
I'm all good, man. I'm all good. How you doing?
I'm fantastic. I see you busy these days. You prepping up for the album. The 30th of June will be one of the biggest days in the country this year.
Yeah. That's it, man. That's it. We are pushing.
Yeah,
We are
yeah.
pushing. The last lap of the publicity
Uh-huh.
campaign for the album, which will be dropping on June 30th. So yeah, that's the only thing that I'm sleeping and eating and. Yeah, that's my everything right now,
All
just
right.
to make sure that the album actually drops on that date, and everything just goes according to plan, and so far so good.
All right. Before we talk about the album, I would like us to go back in time when you're still staying in Francistown. I think it's summer rest when you're sneaking out of your parents' house so that you can go to like shebeens. You're not drinking obviously because you're still young, and you'd
Yeah.
listen to like veterans playing, and you were getting all the inspiration that you wanted, and that's how you fell in love with this music.
Oh yeah, that's my childhood. That's my
Yeah.
childhood. So uh yeah, as a kid I probably was 6, 5 thereabouts.
Uh-huh.
I would I grew up just like any boy who was growing up then
All right.
in the mid 80s, or late 80s thereabouts. And we played soccer on the streets, but
Yeah.
a lot of the time I'll find myself leaving the rest of the pack and to go into this drinking holes called shebeens.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
yeah, I'll get there to, and the thing that would have drawn me there would be the sound of the four-string guitar. A lot of the
Mm-hmm.
time that was the music. There will be these guys who'll be playing this guitar in the streets, I mean in this drinking holes.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
yeah, it was an adult only affair, but somehow kids like myself would manage to just stay there and just stay as silent as is possible and just enjoy the music. It was that was the first live show that I attended. That was my first meeting with live music.
All
Yes,
right.
we
All right.
went to church, but this was a different kind of church altogether. This
Yeah.
was
Yeah. Very
yeah
true.
this was different. And I'll tell you, my parents obviously didn't want me to go there.
Mm-hmm.
There's not a place for kids. There's a place where um adults are, and they're just drinking booze. The
Yeah.
language is not the most cleanest. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's where you have the most PG rated content.
Yeah.
You know
Yeah.
what I mean? So
Yeah. That's very true.
so obviously no right thinking parent would want their kid to be around that
Mm-hmm.
crowd. But for me, yeah, that was like heaven on earth. The best music I've ever heard. I heard it there. And just the freedom, the artistic freedom. And people are free in those they've imbibed the holy waters. So people are free with the language, they're free with how they dance, and you know what I mean. So for me,
Yeah.
that was the best training ground, in
Mm-hmm.
just expression, expressive art, in just how you see how these guys will just create a song right there on the spot. You
On the
know what I
spot. Yeah.
mean? And
Yeah.
the joy, the joy that these guys gave, the people who were there dancing and responding to the music in real time. For me, that was like, wow, now
All
this
right.
is a world that I would like to be part of, and I'm happy that today I'm in a way part of that world. you know.
When did you pick up your first guitar now to strum and stuff like that?
I didn't pick up the guitar until until I went to varsity,
All right.
until I finished high school, because I didn't have the guitar. Nobody could
Yeah.
buy me that. My parents
Mm-hmm.
couldn't afford that, and obviously it wasn't a subject that I could broach with them. It wasn't like I could just walk up to them and say I want to play guitar. You know what I mean? They would think I'm crazy. So it was out of the question. So what happened was that there was no music in a lot of the schools that I went to, the primary school. The
Mm-hmm.
only music that was there was just choral music, and it wasn't for me. And the junior secondary school, it was still the same senior secondary school, but I got involved in theater.
All right. All
When I
right.
went to junior secondary school, so I did storytelling. I would do poetry. I would do, you know, acting, and as I progressed, I would get into writing plays and directing plays and having my own group outside the school. You know what I mean? So,
Mm-hmm.
but it was through that theater that I managed to get a guitar. I had a group with one guy outside school, and we used to do like, 2-man plays. So we invited to do this gig. I think it was for orphaned kids, if I remember well. And there was this Swedish couple. They had a guitar, like an old guitar. It was broken.
Uh-huh.
The body
Okay.
was slightly broken, so it didn't play quite well. Wow. So
Uh-huh.
after we played, we put on this show, this 2 men, play. They gave us the guitar. They didn't pay us, they gave us the guitar. So the other guy I
Yeah.
was acting with wasn't so interested in the guitar. So for me, it was a breakthrough. Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I got that guitar, and I learned how to play with that guitar.
All
And
right. All right.
yeah, yeah,
All right. So
yeah.
let's fast forward it a bit. Now you're done with varsity, but you don't follow your dream. You follow maybe, like, let's say it's another dream that you had, but it's not where you're really passionate about. You become a journalist, a very
Oh
successful
yeah. Oh,
journalist.
oh yeah. That one was like, man. You know how it happened was, when I was at varsity. So
Yeah.
some of my friends were involved in the media.
Uh-huh.
They were not at varsity, but they were involved somewhat.
Okay.
Some were like journalists. So I
Uh-huh.
knew a few guys, and so just hanging around them, and then it's like I realized, you know what, I can do this thing. Wow. So so I spoke to one of them and said, I can do this thing. And then he gave me a gig. He was like, yeah, no, maybe work on a story about blah blah, just so I see.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I did that small story, and it was like, yeah, you can do this. So I did it kind of part-time. But for me, I was just a varsity student, so I was doing it not because I was really passionate about it, but
Uh-huh.
simply because I wanted a bag. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it afforded me, that opportunity to have a bit of money. But I think maybe somebody saw potential in me, because when I finished varsity, obviously I was jobless. So I called
Uh-huh.
Michi, and I think I spoke to Gideon Nkala, Mr. Gideon Nkala, who was
Yes,
the
Mr.
editor
Gala.
of, yeah, he was the editor of the Monitor at the time. So I spoke
Okay.
to him and I said, hey man, I'm going to Francistown and I like to freelance for you that side. So I wrote for them, for a couple of days, and then the editor of Michi at the time was Mesh Moiti, a good
Uh-huh.
brother of mine. Yeah, so he called me and he said, hey man, I hear you are an artist, blah 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 blah, but can you stay with us for a short while, help
Yeah.
us with the feature writing and blah blah. And for me it was like, okay, like a gig that I would do for like a year while I'm still
Yeah.
figuring out how to get into the arts world full time, because that was where my heart was.
Yeah.
It ended up being, I don't know, 10 years, you know. So it
And
went
you
on and
became.
on and on and on. And I was like, yeah, but I'm not bad at this thing. And
Yeah.
and and I kind of liked it. I kind of liked it. but my passion really was still in the arts. I always knew, and I always knew that I'll be an artist eventually, like a full-time one.
Okay. Uh-huh.
So for me, um I realized, okay, I'm not so bad, at this thing. So let me just go on with it, and I kind of enjoy it. There's so many parts of it that I like. But it was
Uh-huh.
also black text. This thing called black text.
Yeah, I know
I,
it.
yeah, I had to pay my dues. You know what I mean? So I
Yeah.
had to take care of my parents, for a while.
Yeah.
So this at least, guaranteed me a steady income. So I
Mm-hmm.
stuck with it, and I grew within it, and I'm thankful today that I had this gig, this 10 or so year gig. I think it
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
prepared me for this new role, in so many ways. So
Yeah.
yeah, when I felt that the time was right, then I was like, yeah, I've paid my black tax. I've I've done things for other people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now I'm just stepping out and doing me. And I have no plan B. I'm just going to do this thing. So yeah, I'm still doing it, man. 6 years on, I'm not complaining. I think I'm blessed.
How was the transition from walking out of the corporate world to the arts world? Like, didn't you have like, what was the family's reaction? What was like the society's reaction? They're like, is this guy really serious? Because I remember the time, if I'm not mistaken, the time when you left the 9 to 5 to join music, you were working for some institution and you had a high position there.
Oh yes. I had a gig at the Botswana International University of Science and Technology. Yeah,
Yeah.
where I managed their media relations and publications.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it was. Yeah,
uh,
it was a job, and I was
mhm.
happy to experience like a different world.
Yeah.
I mean, in all honesty, after spending 10 years or so chasing headlines, and where you have to deliver, if you are working for a daily, you have to deliver on the daily.
Yes.
You are as good as your last issue. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah.
Just because maybe you put out an issue that sold out, it doesn't mean that no, you are set. You have to do it again today and tomorrow. You know what I mean? And next week.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's like, you can't win at this thing. You give it your all, it comes back stronger. So for me, coming from that environment where you really had to earn your lunch, you know what I mean? You had to earn it every day. It's
Every
not like
day.
you're gonna do some crazy thing and then it's like, no, you are set for life. No, you have to keep
Hmm.
sailing every day. So
Hmm.
for me, now moving to the corporate world, there it felt like I was in Bali, you know what I mean? Like I was on holiday or something like
Yeah.
that. So I don't want to lie. That was the easiest 1 year of my life.
Hmm.
Coming from the newsroom, and I think maybe the other realization then was that, you know what, I really gotta go and really do the things I really love, because
Hmm.
it was a nice gig, well paying, you know what I mean. But for me, it
Yeah.
wasn't. I really felt like, nah, man, I think I've done this thing. I've
Yeah.
really done this gig where my passion is not there. So I really need to chase my passions, and I
Hmm.
think it was then that year when I was at Boost that I thought, you know what, this it's time up. I gotta
It's
pick up
time
my
up.
guitar and and
Hmm.
and and start working on my exit, and
Yeah.
and and I did it, and I left,
Hmm.
and I left that world. I didn't ask for work related to that or ask to go to the newsroom. You know what I mean? I was like, no, I'm getting my guitar. I'm
Hmm.
going to the studio, I'm recording my album, and then I'm chasing that. I have no plan B. And
Yeah.
yeah, it worked out, man. Yeah. And
Uh,
yeah, I'm happy. Yeah.
but how was the reaction from the family, from the society, from your former colleagues
Sorry?
when you how was the reaction from the family, from the
Okay. No,
society?
no. People thought I had like a serious bout of madness. Like this guy, we don't know what he's smoking. Because yeah, I mean, if you come from, if you come from the newsroom,
Mhm.
you know how tough it is.
Yes,
You
yes,
know
yes.
how under resourced, the whole
Yeah.
environment is. You know,
Hmm.
you know the struggles, and that's what it's called. It's called the struggle. Wow,
The
and
struggle.
then you
Yeah.
move, yeah, and yeah, it's called the guys who say nah. That's why guys who call each other comrade because
Oh, comrade.
you
Yeah.
know, yeah, it's the struggle is real.
We're
So
victims of the same struggle.
yeah, then you move on to a place where you feel like you are just on holiday, and but the
Hmm.
pay is just so great. You are just on holiday compared to where you are coming from, where
Yes.
it was really
Yeah.
hard, and the pressure, was so high, and there are lawsuits if you make a mistake. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
people lose money. So it's not like a mistake where people just say, "Ah, no, no, sorry, Brian." Or
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
it's a high pressure job, and then you move on to PR. Nah, not so much. If you
Not
ask
so
me, in
much.
my own opinion, no, not so
Yeah.
much. So
Yeah.
so people were like, yeah, this guy just got the break because I know a lot of my friends, even some of them were editors. They also
Hmm.
wanted a break from that. They thought, you know what, we've done so much, as guardians, watchdogs of society,
Yeah.
as part of the fourth estate. I know a couple of us wanted to get into the PR world, where we knew people were well paid,
Hmm.
so I finally made it, but then I was like, no, 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 no. I just wanna go and play guitar. So people thought I was
Yeah.
mad. Oh, fortunately, my wife, who was my girlfriend at the time,
Okay.
she didn't think so.
Hmm.
She was cool with it. She was like, yeah, you know,
Go ahead.
yeah. Just like, yeah, go ahead, go and do you. Go and do you. We'll
Yeah.
make a play. Yeah, and
Yeah.
and
Yeah. Yeah.
and yeah. So for that faith in me, I thank her all the time, because if it was somebody else, she would have given me so much trouble, for living what seems to be like a comfortable livelihood,
Yeah.
predictability, comfort. You know what I mean?
Hmm. Hmm.
And for this world, this world of discomfort, and
Discomfort. Yeah.
like, yeah, it's like going back to the high pressure
Uh-huh.
environment of the news. It's not the same, but you know what I mean. But it's far cry from being in the PR environment where you are well resourced, where
Hmm.
you are guaranteed a salary. It's coming, but at
Hmm.
the newsroom there were years when uh, you go for months on half salary. Wow, because
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
because you are not doing well. It's as simple as that. Wow, so obviously a lot of people thought I was crazy.
All right. So after you leave your job, you record your debut album, The Four Strings. It's
Yeah.
called The Four Strings Affair, right?
Yes, yes.
Yes, The Four Strings Affair, which had a lot of nice songs. My favorite songs are Bylines and Headlines.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
then,
yeah.
yeah, and then there's Wobotako Kome.
Mm.
So how was the process and adaptation of being in the studio full time? You're no longer in the office where there are air cons and everything. Salary coming through at the end of the month.
Yeah, but y- for me, the main thing was just the freedom.
All right.
The freedom to just be my own boss.
Mhm.
That was really nice. And to be paid to have fun.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like people
Uh-huh.
paid me to have fun, so that was like a um whole other world, where you're
Yes.
having
Yes.
fun. It's the job of your dreams, and you don't even think it's a job, just having fun. You play music you wrote. So interestingly, I was dealing more with corporate,
Yeah.
because I was playing corporate events, and you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
And so yeah, it was still largely air conditioned.
Yeah.
If you ask
It's
me,
true. It's very true.
because we're doing a lot of
Yeah.
corporate gigs,
Yeah.
and you're doing festivals, so you are treated well at festivals. You know what I mean?
Yes.
If you get into the game at the level that I got into the game, then you are not treated like a new up and coming. You know what I
Up
mean?
and coming.
Like,
Yes. Yes.
yeah,
Yes.
and for some reason I don't know why, but I was referred to as a legend when I had just you know entered the
Yeah.
industry. Even today, I'm still being referred to as a legend.
As a
Which
legend.
and I don't understand why. You know what I mean? Because yeah, because I'm just a 6-year-old kid. I've been
Hmm.
here for 6 years, and then I
Yes.
was like really fresh. But
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
had this many descriptions going around, but I was like, yeah, okay, if I'm it's okay, if
It's okay.
that's what they feel, but for me the thing was, yeah, it was very comfortable, the freedom, just being paid to do what you love. And I mean, it's an awesome gig, bro. It's an awesome job. It's
Hmm.
your life. You sit down, you write the songs, and people you know relate with those, and want you to be part of their lives, and that's a very, very special thing. And I think it's a blessing and a privilege, and I don't take it lightly,
Hmm.
because it's a dream of many, 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 many uh, really gifted people who are, like, I don't know, like a million times gifted than I am.
Yes.
So um I can't claim that I'm it's of my own doing. It's solely of my own doing. I think there is a higher power in this thing. You know what I mean? I
Yes. God is
think,
involved.
yeah, I think God is really involved in this thing. He
Yeah.
decided that, boss, you're gonna have the best 4 years of your life, um, by just doing this thing. You're not the most talented, but yes,
Hmm.
I will give you this life. So I don't think, yeah, it's just of my own doing. I think there's a higher force,
Wow.
behind all this. Yeah, because I'll be the first to admit, I'm not the best singer, the best songwriter, the best
Hmm.
whatever that has ever walked this land. Um, there are many people who came before me who were really awesome. Some who are even still doing it today, who
Hmm.
haven't had the life I've had, in the past,
Hmm. Hmm.
whatever, 5, 6 years. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So I
Yes.
believe there is a higher force that is really, playing, you know what I mean, like moving the pieces. You know what I mean?
Hmm. No, I
So
understand.
yeah, so I'm really, really grateful. I'm really thankful, and I don't take it lightly.
Yeah, you actually hit the ground running, and you did extremely well for someone who had released their first album. You did extremely well, more than people that you found in the game, and you actually commercialized and made four-string guitar music fashionable and famous, much more famous and commercial.
Mm.
Well, was there a game plan behind it?
I didn't hear the question.
I'm saying you actually made four-string guitar music, famous, fashionable, and commercial, and you hit the ground running. You're doing
Yeah.
extremely well for someone who dropped their debut album. You did better than people that you found in the industry. And also looking at the fact that folk music was regarded as Shabin music, Tavin music, music
Yeah.
for Badisa.
Yes.
What was there any game plan in making this grow?
Yeah, obviously, bro. Obviously,
Yeah,
obviously there was a plan. Obviously there
uh-huh.
was a plan. I mean,
Yeah,
I mean it's an art, it's a craft, it's a business, you know.
hmm
So
hmm
it also depends on your awareness of what
okay,
it is that you are getting into. But it
uh-huh.
also it's also about how you know yourself as well, you know.
Yes,
Do you know who you are, and like the things you like, and do you have an idea about how you can channel who you are a- as a Botswana living today, you know,
hmm
or as you know, or the gifts that you have, you know. So
yes,
for me, I thought it was very important that I embrace the things that I love, and I find a way to um to make them blend in such a way that I feel that I'm contributing, you know, to the repertoire of new music in the country. I
hmm
didn't want to come and regurgitate what everybody was doing at the time, but I appreciated where I was coming from, and I was like, I'm gonna build from where I'm coming from, but I'm gonna bring in elements of the other things that I love that come from elsewhere, not from home. So for me, it was
yes,
just like creating that, that sound, where I'll be proud of the sound, and call it my own. So I
hmm
didn't want to just come and do what everybody was doing.
yes,
So so it was very important to me. So the things I loved, I knew I love guitar. I had, by the time I came out, I was playing guitar for a while, and I'd been looking for a sound. So I went back and I was like, yeah, you know what, those guys used to really excite me as a kid, and
hmm
I just want to find that magic, again, and try to see what it is that make the guitar style tick. And I probably found that, because once I switched to the four string guitar, I kind of had new things, new
hmm
things, because I was approaching the four string from, not from the same direction that the four stringers, like your traditional four stringer was
yes,
approaching the four string, because a lot of
hmm
those guys um had never been to formal school, you know what I mean? And
yes,
but I was this guy who, I'd never been to music school too, but I
hmm
had the knowledge, of chords, how to construct chords, the theory, a little bit of that stuff. I knew, and that is why I
hmm
was able to even put a book together on how to
yes,
play, the style, just an introductory, book.
yeah.
So I was able to take this oral tradition and, yeah, that's the book, and put
This
it
is the
in a
book, yeah,
book. Yes,
yeah,
yes. So
yeah,
I was able to do that, because I have that, music theory. And so that book ended up being my introduction as well to the
yes,
music industry in a way,
uh-huh.
So in a way, it helped me to get into the industry, not as a, maybe that is why my first album I was already called a legend.
Yes,
Because my first entry into the music industry, I was more of, you know what I mean, like an innovator of sorts. a
Yes,
ground
yes, yes,
break.
yes.
You know what
Uh-huh.
I mean? Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was this guy who's like a pathfinder for traditional music. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
I was already doing workshops. Doing clinics at international music conferences.
Hmm.
Before I even had an album. So in a
Yeah.
way, I
Yeah.
think when I got into the industry, I, there was this sense that this guy knows what he's doing. I didn't know, just like anybody. I was just like, you know what, this music sounds good to me. Hopefully, it'll sound good to the next person as well. So, yeah, I I had no idea. Maybe I had a bit of idea, but but but
Okay.
but but I think I was just like anybody who gets into the music industry, thinking they have something fresh to offer. Because if you ask
Uh-huh.
anybody, they will tell you, they are doing it and they're doing it at the highest level and they are very special. I think any musician, if you ask them, they will tell you their thing is really special and it's sought after. It's that thing. Wow, when I cry.
Yeah. No, I
But I
get you.
think, yeah, me too. I think I just happen to be this lucky guy, who
Uh-huh.
maybe came at the right time when people were ready for that sound. Because that's why I believe there is God in this thing. Because you can come at the wrong time. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? You can come out
Yes.
at a time when people are not prepared to hear that thing. But
Uh-huh.
that's why some
Yes.
people are
Yes.
said to be ahead of their time, because they'll put out something, and then 15 years down the line, that's when people gravitate towards what they put out, then. And
Wow.
it's like, it's
Wow.
so new, you know what I mean? It's like, oh, wow, this is so fresh, and somebody says, no, but this thing, this guy put out this thing 15 years ago. But you see, people were not prepared at the time. They just
Yeah, they're not
wanted to
prepared.
dive to amapiano, you know what I mean?
Hmm.
So,
Hmm.
so, so, so I don't think it's all of your doing, like, oh, you are just this genius. I think it's just a lot of elements just coming together. Wow. Hey, like people
Yes.
are ready for that thing, or I don't know, but I don't think we are really in control, total control of our destiny. I believe there are so many variables, at play, and luck
Hmm.
is a big part of it. If you ask me, yes, you prepare, you do whatever, 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 but boss, you gotta be lucky. Otherwise, only three guys are like, that guy is a genius. But then it doesn't give you a career. You know what I mean? If it's just three guys, it
Hmm.
doesn't give you a career. You need to have a few thousands thinking, this is it. Because then they
All
will
right.
support that. Wow. But if it's three
Yeah.
guys,
Yeah.
they can't support that. They will think, yeah, you great. And they may not even share you because they think they're special because they have the special taste and they don't share you. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
There's a lot of that, in the in this space where maybe people think, oh, this is a really really special talent,
Yeah. Yeah.
genius, and they think they are also special because they can see the genius. Only them can see the genius. And
Only
once
them.
this
Yeah.
guy blows big, they think he's lost that thing. You know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
now it's
Ish.
like very accessible. You know,
Hmm.
it's like now any layman can get him. So they like it when it's only them who can get you, like a very small club. But then
That's
it
what. Yeah.
doesn't work
Yeah.
for the artist because I mean, there's three of you guys. You can't support the artist. So yeah,
Okay. Sounds
yeah,
very interesting. So, moving forward, before we talk about the album, the coming upcoming album,
yeah.
for the past year and a couple of months, uh, there hasn't been any performances, no festivals, nothing. Like
Mm.
most people, if not 99% of the people in the entertainment industry, have been unemployed. How has been the struggle on your side?
Uh yeah, man, it's been tough. It's been
Uh
tough.
huh.
It still is.
Uh huh.
It's tough because I mean, if you're not working and you're used to working, obviously it's tough. We have families.
Yes.
We have people that we employ, So when there's no work, total there's no life, you know.
Yeah.
But I I recorded this album through that phase
Okay.
where it was very hard to raise funding, you know, for the project, you know, let alone to stay alive, you know. So some of
Yeah.
us are really fortunate because you know, you have a partner who's working, you know,
Mm-hmm.
so they can also support you through this thing. So I think that's
Yeah.
also the importance of family, but also the music itself, because for me, I think if I wasn't creating music during this period,
Mm-hmm.
I really would have been affected by this thing so badly, you know,
Yeah. Yeah.
probably,
Yeah.
you know, mentally
Mm-hmm.
or spiritually, I don't know, but the music really kept things alive for me, you know what I mean? Because every day I woke up and thinking, you know what, I gotta write a song, you know, work on yesterday's song. I'm waiting for files from so and so, you know. I'm waiting for somebody to come to the studio so that we finish this song, or so that we jam on that, or we groove on that. So for me,
Mm-hmm.
the music really, you know, was such an optimistic thing for me, because you know, when if people are saying is the end of the world today,
Yes.
and then there is a guy who, you know, is making plans for tomorrow, you know what I mean? That guy is alive, and that guy believes that, you know, there'll be tomorrow. That guy believes that there is life, and that guy
Yeah.
is just an embodiment of optimism, you know what I mean? Like, so
Mm-hmm.
for me, the music was that thing that I was like, you know what, yeah, we might be going through stuff right now, but the music gives me hope that, you know, it's a living thing. It'll outlive this thing and get to be born on the other side,
Yeah.
and be part of the life on the other side, which is life that will
Mm-hmm.
be very exciting, that will be new, just like the music, that will be bringing new vibes that have never been experienced before, just like the music, because that's the
Yes.
beauty of the music. You know, you hear that song, you haven't heard it before, it's a new song, you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
for me,
Yeah.
the music was like some sort of a renewal, and a bridge, you know, that helped me to kind of cross from the dark, and, you know, the gloom and doom of COVID-19. In a way, it's not done yet, but I mean, for me, the West is behind, you know.
Yes.
um
Yes. Yes.
you know what I mean? So for me,
Mm-hmm.
the music really helped me, you know, because it kept
Yeah.
me busy, but also because the music itself, it's you know, it's healing. It's you as an artist just coming alive and just
Mm-hmm.
expressing, you know, yourself, and knowing that there will be people on the other
Yeah.
side,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
there
Yeah.
will be survivors, winners, you know, who would experience this music. And you want to be there. That is why you are putting out this music. You want to be among the winners, you want to be among the
Yeah.
survivors, you want to be among those people who make it to the other side, to this brand new world with this brand new music, you know. It's
Uh-huh.
like you just want to be there sharing this music. So why would you, you know, give up on life when there's this exciting world where you get to play this beautiful music that you created with all this beautiful, you know, you know, people, you know,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
you,
Yeah.
you know, you are looking forward to that, you know what I mean? So for me, the
Yeah.
music was a major part of this thing. And the fact that I was working through this thing, you know, I wasn't
Mm-hmm.
getting money. Actually, I was spending money. You know, spending my savings and all that, you know, uh which was cool, because somehow, you know, also the other musicians who are working with me, they get to take something home, you know,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
you know, from, you know, working with me. but
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
but but for me, the big thing was that I wasn't wallowing in my own sorrows and saying, "Oh, there's no work." I was busy. I was busy working on myself, on working on my own music. So it really helped me a lot. You know.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
All right. Talking about the good music which saved you during this pandemic, um, just briefly take us through the conceptualization of your music, because your music has interesting messages behind it. We have songs such as Wo Pompela, Tako
Yes.
Kome. Yeah, like those are real dialogues, like which you find like people talking about and stuff like that. But there's also humor in the music. It's also sort of like a social commentary.
Mm.
What's the inspiration behind the message and the crafting of the message?
Sorry.
What's the inspiration behind the crafting of the message in the music?
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's life. It's life, bro. It's just living. It's just life. It's
Yeah,
just living. It's just hearing people talk. It's just the crazy thoughts that come into your head. You know.
yeah,
Yeah, just life in general. The
uh-huh.
life stories that you hear, that you read about, things that happen to you. Um your imaginations of
Hmm.
maybe what the future would be. You know what I mean? So
Yeah,
so all those things, things you feel, about stuff. You know what I mean? So that kind of makes it to the music. But I don't like to keep things too heavy. I try
yeah,
to lighten the load. Like, yeah,
yeah,
you might be listening to like some really a song about some really heavy stuff, but I try to lighten up a little bit. And I
yeah,
think it's
yeah,
just who I am, because sometimes I'm not even going for that. But
uh-huh.
maybe just the way I say it, then some people find it, find it fun in a way.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah,
So sometimes I'm not even trying to do it. I'm just trying to express and just have that cinematic language, paint pictures, because I think for me that's like the best,
uh-huh.
when you have people can listen to the words. I mean, those who know the language can
Yeah,
actually listen to the words and see, you know what I mean, like they
yeah,
hear the
yeah,
words and then they get to see, so it's like journalism, where they say, when they say, don't tell, show, don't
yeah,
tell.
yeah. Sure,
I
don't
want
tell.
to see, like you imagine like a blind guy is listening. Is it a blind guy? Like, yeah,
Hmm.
like you imagine, like you see the words, actually you just see pictures, with
Yeah,
color, and you can
yeah.
smell,
Hmm.
the,
Hmm.
the smells, you can hear the sounds, like all your senses, you know what I mean?
Yes, yes, yes.
So for me, that's like things I'm trying to go for. But obviously, it's you don't get it right all the time.
Uh-huh.
But that's the ideal, is that you want people to actually lose themselves in the moment and just be there, for those 3 minutes, 30 seconds, if
Yes.
they understand the language. and
Uh-huh.
and even if they don't understand the language, you want them to experience something, so that
Uh-huh.
they're not the same people they were before those 3 minutes. It has affected them one way or the other. The chemical balance is not the same. whatever
Yeah,
whatever it is. Yeah,
yeah.
so that I think you've done your work when somebody feels like they've been transported somewhere. Like, that's a different person. The
Uh-huh.
person who hears your song, they come from a place where they haven't heard the song, and then they hear the song, and then they start talking nonstop about the song. That song has affected them, you
Uh-huh.
know and I think now, as a musician, when once that happened, I'm like, yeah, my work is done.
My work is done. All
Yeah.
right, all right. Um, moving on to the upcoming album, I'm Africa,
Ye-
named after your
yes,
daughter.
I am Africa.
Yes, I saw. It's one of your first albums where it's featuring people. Actually,
Oh
uh,
yeah,
yeah, I see.
yeah,
There's
where it's
interesting
featuring
people.
people. Yeah, the other ones were not featuring people.
Yeah, I see the interesting names there, such as Bokani Daya, Jazz Maestro. There's my
Yes.
homegirl Berry Takumalo and Hensi or Superstar
Yeah.
and other people. Just take us through the album.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. This is the first album where I'm actually featuring fellow singers, Like
Yes,
the other albums I think I could argue I've been featuring, various instrumentalists.
yes,
This time around I'm featuring various
vocalists.
Are we back?
Yeah, we're back, we're back, we're back.
Okay, okay, cool.
Yeah,
Yes, yes. This is the album that I wanted to do. Like I've always had a dream that one day, I
hmm
would get to work with international musicians, reputable musicians, and have them on the same album as myself.
yes,
Boss, this is a dream come true. This is a
yeah.
dream come true. Yeah, this is
Uh,
my album. I been thinking about doing this for a long time, and I thought it would take me longer to do
uh-huh.
it.
Yeah,
I thought it would take me longer to do it. I would have to, like really pay my dues for much longer. Maybe I
yeah,
thought maybe
yeah,
on my fifth album or whatever, sixth album, maybe I'll be able to, start getting international artists that I respect.
yeah,
Maybe I'll start to get their notice and they'll start to, when I talk to them, it's not like what I hear other people saying they have to
uh-huh.
pay for features and all that. I didn't want that. I wanted them to see some value in, getting together with me and creating music with me and maybe liking my stuff enough to want to do
hmm
something with me.
hmm
And I'm happy that I did it just the way I had imagined it, which was simply like where people simply like what you do and
Yeah,
they just want to do it with you, And I was
hmm
very lucky because almost everyone that I approached was like, yes, let's do it. Yes, let's do
yeah.
it. And
Wow.
so for me, yeah, it's a source of pride. I mean, this is a labor of love. And there are many, there are other musicians that I really, really respect who had
Sereetsi,
said
can you hear me?
yes. Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Oh yeah, yes,
Yeah.
yes. I was saying, it's a source of pride for me. There are so many musicians, not a lot, but yeah, some musicians that I really, really respect who
hmm
also said yes. But because I respect them so much, I didn't want to just give them a song that I knew wasn't that right for us to do together. When-
Yes,
So I
yes, yes.
really, really respected them that much. I was like, you know what? There'll be another album, there'll be singles. So some of these guys, I want to give them a song that, it's not like you're just checking a box. You're like, oh, I've done a song with so and so.
hmm
I want the
hmm
song to really stand on its own 2 feet. I
All
don't know
right.
whether it is 2 feet or three. Yes, but I want it to stand firm on its own. Not
Yeah.
just for these guys met and then they did a song and then it's so forgettable. You know what I mean?
Yes,
So
yes.
so yeah, it has cost me in the past. A case in point, we agreed to do a song together with the great late Oliver Mtuguzi,
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
then yeah, and then I didn't. give him the the song, to for us
Okay.
to work on. And he said, "Oh yeah, send me something, and then let's work on it." But
Yeah.
out of respect as well, I was like, you know what, it has to be really good. You know,
Yes.
I
Yes. Yes.
until I find something that I can feel in my bone that this thing is gonna be special.
Uh
I'm
huh.
not gonna bother the old man. You know what I mean? And unfortunately, he left.
You
And then the
left. Yeah.
other guys right now as well. On the international stage that I really would love to do something with them. And
Uh-huh.
I told them, no, 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 no. I know when I find that thing, I'll
I'll come
come.
to you.
I'll find that thing and work on it. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I'm still very hopeful. This is the beginning. So yeah, that's the album with all those people that you mentioned. Very special people. Jackie Vincent,
Hmm.
awesome guitarist, awesome singer, producer, composer. And the special thing for me with all these people, Bonebo, Bobokani Daya, Boberita,
Hmm.
Nigerian
Primo.
superstar Brimo,
Yes.
Bohensi. For me, the special thing as well was that I worked on the music.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
worked on the music and sent them the music, and they said
Okay.
yes, they hopped on it. So for me, that's also very special. Wow, and
Yeah.
in a,
Yeah.
in a
Yeah.
way, it's a very special thing for me because um, it's my album. So
Hmm.
I didn't want it to, you know, uh, how do I say it? I still wanted it to be largely me and just simply inviting these guys into my world, so they become
Okay.
part of my world, they own it, and it becomes our world, but
Hmm.
within the context of my imagination of where Sereetsi and the natives should be. You know what I mean?
All right. All right.
So in a way, it's still a Sereetsi and the natives album.
All right.
I have guests, you know, who are just within my world and that's relaxed enough to enter any room in my house and make it theirs, you know what I mean, and put their
Yes.
energy all over, but it's still
Hmm.
my house, you know what I mean.
Hmm.
So for me that was very very important because it's a Sereetsi and the Natives album, the
Hmm.
music, all the collaborations were for this album,
Yeah.
so that for me was like a source of pride. Or these guys actually allowed me to all this latitude, to be the one who
Hmm.
creates the music and who even guides the context, even the lyrical
Yes.
context. But no,
Yeah.
no, no.
Yeah.
I want us to sing about this. Yes, they wrote their own parts, they wrote their own lyrics,
Uh-huh.
and how they want to sing them. I didn't have much of a say in that,
All right.
but the boundaries, the architecture of the whole thing, the structure, it kind of came from me. So for me, that was a great what for me,
Yes.
as Sereetsi and the
Hmm.
Natives. I think it was very important because it was a Sereetsi and the Natives album, So if it sounds too different, then maybe you don't like it much. You still have to blame me.
But how is it sounding like?
But
How's
I
it
know it's gonna
sounding
be
like?
awesome. But I know it
Uh-huh.
sounds awesome, man. So you guys have
Yeah.
no choice. You will like this one.
We
Yeah,
like
you
this
will
one.
like this
All
one.
right.
Mm,
All right.
mm,
So,
yeah.
what are the plans now when you release the album? Like, I know we don't have festivals and stuff like that. Should expect like
Yeah.
maybe a digital launch or something.
Sorry.
I'm saying, what's the plan upon releasing the album? Are you going to have I know we're going through a phase whereby there are no festivals taking place. Should expect a digital launch from you whereby you can perform a couple songs from the album or something like that.
Uh usually what happens, I know they say it's a you know different kind of normal.
Yeah.
Usually I would put out an album and then come back like 6 months,
Hmm.
or so later, and then do the launch. Six,
Oh,
8 months
okay.
later, and then do a launch. Usually I do that. And I find that it works because usually people would know the music by then. So the
Mm-hmm.
shows are nice, because people know the music. They've bought the CD, they've stayed with the music for a while. Now when you call them, you're like, hey, now let's launch this thing. They know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that things will just ease up a little bit, and maybe when the year starts or towards the end of the year, things will be better. It's just a wish.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But I really, 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 really would love to perform in front of an audience. Not the virtual way. We can still,
Yes.
try one or two here and there, but the big idea really is to do it really big, in
Mm-hmm.
front of a live audience, and hopefully bring some of those guys who are on the album here as
Okay.
well. And we have this big, Africa festival. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So for me, the album is more than just like an album. I'm launching. It's a secret. But I'm launching a
Yeah.
platform, for international artists to
Okay.
collaborate, to work
All right.
together. And so for me, this album was also about setting that thing in motion. And
Mm-hmm.
I really looking forward to that day when we can be just like the other kids elsewhere who are already going to festivals. You know what I mean? But I
Yes.
know our
Yes. Yes.
time will come. um right now, really, I'm very optimistic. The music
Mm-hmm.
keeps me optimistic because we did so much during a very difficult time. And
Yes.
I digress. And I would like to thank the natives out there, because a lot of them, maybe not a lot of them, but a good number of them actually supported the production of CDs, of
All
this
right.
album. Yeah, they paid part of the cost
All
of
right.
producing CDs for this album. So that really helped, and it also gave me, hope for the future, that no, 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 this thing, there's life after this. So I want,
Mm-hmm.
so just keep the faith, and just keep it going. We shouldn't stop. Go fast, go slow, but don't stop.
All
You
right.
know, yeah.
So before we shut it down, are you going to sample one or two songs for us here so that the natives can get a glimpse of what's in the album?
Uh Unfortunately not. You should have told me. You should have told
Uh-huh.
me, because I could have prepared.
All
I could
right.
have prepared something. I don't even have a device here to play
All right.
anything here. Yeah, but certainly, the music is coming out,
Yeah.
yeah, early next week. So
Early next
eh,
week.
yeah, so there will be music. You get to hear it, and if you want us to do like a
Yeah.
listening session and do like a blow by blow,
All
like
right.
song after song, I'll be
Uh-huh.
happy to do that with you. Then I can set up nicely, and so
All
that the
right.
sound, you can hear it nicely, and you know what I mean. So that I can arrange. So I want.
All
So
right.
if
Okay.
just let me know, or no, I want to do this on Monday or whatever. We can set it up, and
Okay.
then we do a listening session on your
Uh-huh.
show. Yeah, we
All
can
right. No,
do
it's
that.
cool.
So think about
It's
it.
cool. Yeah, that
Mm.
one I'm definitely down for it. Like we can actually do it when the album is released.
Sure, man. We can do that.
Yeah.
That would be cool. Yeah, then we
All
can
right.
go like, yeah, song by song, and say, oh yeah, this one is called blah blah blah, and then we play the song, and then you ask whatever you may want to know about the
Hmm.
song, and I explain, and we go to the next one. Like a listening session.
All right. No, it's fine.
Yeah, and it's short.
Yeah.
It's not a long, long, long album. It's about 30 minutes long. So
Okay.
yeah,
All right. No, that one we can definitely do.
yeah,
All
sure,
right. So
yeah.
before we shut it down, do you have any final words that you want to say to Botswana and the natives?
It's just to tell everybody to keep the faith, man. I know
Hmm.
it's a difficult time for everyone, not only for us in the music industry who are not working, but some people have been laid off work.
Yeah.
I know some, it's just a matter of time, before people let them go. So
Yeah. Yeah.
my thing is, yeah, just keep the faith. If you are alive and healthy, anything is
Hmm.
possible. You know what I mean?
Anything's possible.
Anything
Yeah.
is possible. And
Yeah.
Motswana re seng kgalang se nthola morwalo. So are seng kgalang se nthola morwalo. So sometimes, when things are not working out for you, it's a blessing. It's a
Hmm.
blessing in disguise. So all you have to do is just to keep the faith and believe that there are better things in store for you.
Yes. Yes.
So
Yes.
it's very difficult. Change is a really painful, when it sets in.
Hmm.
And even when you are wading through it in the middle somewhere there. But yeah, once it's all behind you, you are a better person, you have grown, you are more experienced, you have better perspective, and
Hmm.
you are enriched. So
Yes.
there's an advice to myself as well, you know
Yeah.
yeah, that I need to keep the faith and stay believing in the future, and you know stay smiling and
Yeah.
stay living. You know what I mean? It's
Hmm.
important to stay alive, to still be dreaming about a future,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
enjoying the little moments, because sometimes the thing you realize about this situation is also that um for some of us it has allowed us to slow down and re-examine how we've been going through, we're going through life in general,
Uh-huh.
and kind of help us, just the small things, just to appreciate the small
Hmm.
things around us, like your kids, just that you are healthy, you know what I mean? Just that
Hmm.
you still can dream, you know. I know I
Yeah.
speak like a
Yeah.
poet, it's like I'm romanticizing about it.
Yeah. Oish.